Hello and welcome to today's video. This week we're at Road America in the IMSA series, and boy oh boy has it been an interesting week. In fact, here we're going to start off with a couple of crazy races to begin with before actually taking a look at the main race. Now with that, I'm driving the number 5 car on the left here, but we're going to keep an eye on the number 1 car as we head down the main straight for the first time to begin this 45-minute long IMSA race. And from way back, he dives down, clips me on entry, and then can't keep it tight enough and hits me on the inside and sends me a message saying thanks. And then unfortunately at the end of that lap, I wasn't paying attention, let myself get a little bit loose and lose the rear end, slam into the barrier, giving myself some wheel damage. And in frustration, I rage quit back to the pits and left that race. In the next race, everything was going pretty well actually, until we got to this accident, where even though I did go off throttle, I just reacted poorly. I should have stayed off throttle a little more, I think, and just seen what that Porsche was doing. And yeah, that caused me a lot of wheel damage, as you will see here, and a lot of front end damage. So that was the end of my race on this one. Let's have another look at it, this time from the Porsche's perspective, as he loses it through the kink and then gets collected and then just rolls backwards across the track as I come along thinking I can sneak behind him, but unfortunately I can't. Just send him way into the air there. What a spectacular crash from him, though. Yeah, I'd say that's probably a race-ending crash there, I think. Now we jump ahead to the third race at the beginning of lap 2 while I'm in P5. And the car ahead of me just loses it, and I just make the wrong decision again to go the right there and get smoked right into the tire and unfortunately have wheel damage. And once again, I go to the pits and rage quit the race. As we head into the actual main feature race here, I have to mention that even this one didn't start out all perfect. In fact, I only had one chance because I loaded into the session too late. And as you just saw on your screen, I pushed too hard through the carousel and ended up going wide and getting myself an off track, which meant that I was going to start this race in basically last place. But that's okay, because this gives me a good opportunity to work my way back up through the field. And with that, let's jump ahead to the end of the pace lap, just before we're about to go green. And I was caught napping a tiny bit and got myself a little loose, so did not have an ideal start to the race, but that's okay, as I was pretty busy up front and I was able to catch up easily here coming up to the last corner. And down the main straight we go to start this race. As everything starts off nice and clean, we jump ahead and have a look at the 42, who goes deep into turn 1 but hangs on to it really well, though, all things considering. Comes back on track well, and that's when I'm able to make my first pass, per se. Not exactly a pass, but my first position gain, I guess. Down the back straight, the pack comes. We've got some moves here up front. And also in the back, they have some contact and go really deep, and I do see them, and I got a little paranoid and I thought I was gonna get just annihilated there for a split second, but thankfully that all works out well for me. But coming into that left-hander there, 42 does tap the back of 13. And those guys are definitely fighting hard, as 42 here dives down the inside and makes a nice clean pass there. And with that, let's have a look at me on the beginning of lap 2. And I'm able to get a good run on Tyler on the back straight. And he does not go defensive. I pull out early and manage to get alongside him here coming into the braking zone. And in fact, make a relatively straightforward pass. And I am up one more position. Now having a look at Lee, number 14 in the yellow Merc. He goes deep there, hits the gravel, and just loses a lot of momentum. Is very respectful though, stays nice and tight. And 2 cars are able to zip by him, but I am unfortunately not able to also take advantage of that. With that, we jump up ahead to when the GTPs are coming through the field, coming right past me there actually. And as these guys rip past the GT3s, there's an opportunity here for number 3. Dips to the left. I just don't know if Jared just didn't see him there or wanted to block him. But yeah, they have a decent shunt. And as that is happening up ahead, we rewind ever so slightly to when I'm approaching the accident. And this time around, I decided to take it very easily through, as I did not want a repeat of what's happened to me in the last few races throughout the week. Yeah, I definitely wanted to learn my lesson there on that. And coming through that section there on turn 5, I was really slow. I think they were just way slower ahead of me than I was expecting. And I had to get on the brakes a lot harder and lost a little bit of time there, unfortunately. But that's okay, as we made up some positions coming into that accident, so let's see what we can do against Lee here coming through the carousel. As we've got more GTPs zipping by us, and in fact that is when Lee goes wide, and I just don't want to risk it coming through the kink there. But thankfully I'm able to still keep enough momentum, get on the accelerator earlier enough to get side by side, and that is where I have to have a huge shout out here to Jackson, who does not send it on the inside coming into Canada corner and decides to not kill me there. That was definitely very sporting on his behalf, and as you can see, he lost a lot of time there to Jackson, so that could have definitely ended really poorly for me on that instance. With that, let's jump ahead to lap 6 with Kevin, as he just gets pushed wide there by Pablo. And that's right when we're coming through, and thank you to Kevin for being respectful there and not just driving out into the pack right onto the racing line. That could have been another bad accident for me. Let's jump ahead to the beginning of lap 8. Coming down the back straight here once again, where Steven runs a little wide and cannot keep the momentum, and that opens up the door for Cole. But unfortunately for Cole, he has to go around the outside. And fortunately for me, them battling opens up the door for me. And in fact, I'm able to sneak down the inside of Cole as he was just unable to get the good racing line there due to him fighting with Steven. And I am up one more position to P8. Let's jump ahead to lap 8 as we come through the kink, and I'm trying to make a move on Steven coming into Canada corner. I go down the inside, but he's able to just hang it out around the outside. I do leave him room. Unfortunately, he's able to just tuck in ahead of me again, coming through that little kink. Through the last corner, thankfully there's no contact between Cole and myself, and I'm able to get a little bit of a run up onto Steven. He does go down the middle of the track. I fake left and then I dip to the inside, and I'm able to get up alongside him up into the braking zone. Now, because of my tight line, I have to go a little bit deeper on exit, and he's able to do a lovely switchback and is actually able to come down the inside of me here into turn 5. Lovely racing though from Steven, gives me room on the outside, and we're able to have a great battle. I'm on the left and just Cole has like nowhere to go there. He's trying to get through us all too. And great racing between the 4 of us so nobody has an accident. That is unfortunately for Steven, where he goes a little bit deep into turn 5 and I'm able to sneak down the inside, and that puts Lee right onto him. And Lee is able to take advantage of that and also slide through. And with that, we will have a look at Daniel, as he unfortunately just loses it rolling backwards, but thankfully for him, he's able to get going fairly quickly and doesn't lose a lot of time. Okay, let's jump ahead to lap 11, where once again we come through the carousel with GTPs all over us. And in fact, look at this here. These guys go round my left and my right at the same time. And thankfully, it actually works out for all 3 of us. I for sure thought we were about to have an accident there. Skipping ahead, look at this. Just amazing. It's insane. Kevin coming down, Blake coming out of the pits, and Blake just leaves the pits and immediately goes over to the left. It's amazing. We're going to have a quick instant replay of this from Blake's perspective. Look at that. He comes out of the pits, immediately goes to move to the racing line, and then just parks himself right in the middle of the track. Very unfortunate there for Kevin. As we take a look at me going through the carousel here on lap 13, I get pushed a little bit wide there with James. I do give him a couple of flashy flashes, just so I was slightly annoyed at that, but thankfully he didn't push me wide enough that I went onto the grass or anything. So realistically, didn't lose too much time. On lap 14, I'm coming down, and unfortunate timing there for me with Pablo coming out of the pits. Just kind of blocks my ideal line there into turn 1, but that's the way multi-class racing is, I guess, sometimes. And then here at lap 14, Kevin just going wide through the carousel, gets on the grass, and is able to pick it up fairly nicely, actually, but that does allow me to have the momentum and just make a relatively straightforward pass against him. Thankfully, I was able to get that done before the kink, and there wasn't anything funky happening in the kink there with the 2 of us. But unfortunately for me, it's a pretty good pace and is a little bit faster than me, and it does catch right up to me here once again. And in fact, it's a really nice run up into turn 1, but it's just not enough for him to do anything, and he does just tuck in behind me, but seems to get a much nicer run through turn 1 and makes the move now into turn 5. Oh, into turn 3, see. And that puts us side by side and back straight, coming up into turn 5. But we have very even speed, and I am able to hold the defensive line on the inside and hold on to P7 for now. But Kevin is definitely not giving up, and he is all over my tail. Gets a good run down here and dives down the inside at the end. And I do leave him room. I could have maybe been a bit more aggressive there, but I just didn't want to have an accident. I was a little bit spooked this race just from my previous week. I wanted to actually finish this race, even if that meant 1 position lower. And as we come through, the GTP just puts Kevin off a little bit. He flashes Trevor ahead, and that he does not like that move at all either. But unfortunately for me, he's able to just keep his foot down on the accelerator, keep a lot of momentum, and I was unable to actually take advantage of him going wide through the kink there. which is a little unfortunate for me, but yeah. And as we start our lap 16, as Kevin in the GTP, the number one P1, super patient there. I think he could have gone full send into turn 1 and really messed at least one or two of those cars there. Lee or Cole, he could have messed either one of those up there, I think. And yeah, big respect there for him being nice and patient. And thankfully for me, that does actually open up the gap a little bit to myself and Lee behind. As we have another look at Kevin, once again, making his way through the GT3 pack. And he sends it down the inside and does have a slight contact with Dustin, and that just pushes Dustin wide, opens up the opportunity for Jared there. And unfortunate for Dustin, just getting ever so slightly pushed wide. And in fact, we have pretty much a repeat one lap later against Daniel, where GTP also goes down the inside and just bumps him wide a little bit. Yeah, very unfortunate there for Daniel, but thankfully for him, he didn't really lose too much time through there. Let's have a look at Miguel. Gets a little bit spooked, I think, with the GTP coming through right at the kink. And that unfortunately opens up the door for Daniel, and then Daniel just, I don't know what happened there. Not sure who didn't see who, but that unfortunately did not work out well for Miguel. With that, we jump on board with James, and it looks like he must have some type of, he must have taken his hands off the wheels there or something, but he obviously had some oscillation and completely lost it, slammed himself against the wall, and yeah, gave himself some wheel damage. And Miguel, unfortunately, is going to have a little bit of a spin. Pulls out right away and thankfully does not get smoked by Nicholas. Carlos, end of lap 23, from P2, just gets a little bit wide, gets loose, and unfortunately for him, smokes himself against the barrier. Does lose a lot of time, and that's when Robin is able to sneak through. But yeah, unfortunate there for him. As once again, we have a look at Miguel. This time, end of lap 20. Goes a little deep into the last corner. Once again, I think put off a little bit by the GTP coming through. And then here, it leaves, I don't know, what a weird move from Alex to go around the outside there, and then Miguel just leaves zero room, and that somehow puts Kevin right on him too and gives him rear end damage. And a lap later, that's when I'm right on Miguel's tail, as you can see, missing his rear bumper. I'm sure that hasn't been doing wonders for his aerodynamics. And in fact, he has a really poor run through that kink and opens up the door for me and does not go defensive at all. And I'm able to sneak down the inside there, heading into the carousel. And as you can see, his aero, I think, might be a bit messed, or I don't know if it's just the fact that he's doing that tight line through the carousel, but especially exiting the carousel, I'm able to get on the accelerator and just create a lovely gap. And through the kink as well. Look at the gap that I'm able to open up. If you look at the relative, I'm up to 1.4 seconds here, but heading into Canada corner. As we once again have a look at Kevin, this time behind Alex, and Alex goes a little bit deep there, opening up the door for Kevin. And Kevin takes advantage, slides in. Tiny little bit of contact there, but I think that was more due to Alex turning in a little bit too early. And Kevin is able to sneak past up into what I believe was P5. We continue on with their battle, just jumping up ahead to the end of lap 22, as Alex is trying to make his way back past. And as you can hear, just starts to run out of fuel, which is very unfortunate for him, because that's when I'm able to get past him through the last corner on the very last lap. And as we watch Alex pull over to the right, we join me crossing the finish line to come in P6 to finish this race. I would like to thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please do consider leaving a like and maybe a comment letting me know which camera angles you enjoyed. And if you'd like to see more of these type of videos, please do consider subscribing. Thank you, and we'll see you again on the next one. Have a lovely day.